Hi everyone, I'm Laura and welcome to Book Bubbler. Today, it's Saturday night. I actually have a little bit of makeup on. I have my dress on. I just got home a little while ago from Danny at Spinelli Speaks. I just got home from her wedding shower. We all wore masks. We were socially distanced. It was nice and a little bit weird to be in a big group of people again, but so wonderful to see everybody and meet people, and we had such a nice time. Danny was beautiful. It was really lovely. But I figured I might as well use a little bit of makeup I have and the fact that I'm not wearing a polo shirt or just a random t-shirt and film something. And I am now overdue for putting up a video about what I thought about this current round of the Booktube Prize. So this was the semifinals. I had Fiction Group A, which I have to say I was a little underwhelmed by. I think I was expecting to be more wowed in general because it's the semifinals and a lot of people has voted over and over again. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, stop waffling, Laura. Get to books. Okay, so ranking from bottom to top. Number 6, I had On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Vuong. And I've heard I'd heard so many conflicting things about this. It seems like either you love this book and you don't like his poetry, or vice versa. And I was leaning towards not liking the book and liking his poetry, and I didn't really like this book, and I haven't read his poetry yet, but I'm assuming I will. So, the premise of this book, in case you don't know, it's a young boy. I'm not sure how old he is actually, 20s maybe? I don't know. He's writing a letter to his mother who can't read about his life. And while that's a nice setup, I don't think that thought carried all the way through. It seemed like he just forgot about it after a couple of chapters, which, okay. It was all over the place. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. He's got beautiful sentences. I mean, they're just gorgeous sentences. You can tell he is a poet somewhere in there, you know. But as a whole, they didn't amount to much. So I'd read like these beautiful lines, read a couple of paragraphs and think, wow, this is really amazing language. And I go back and read it again and going, he's not really saying anything. So he talks about his mother's life a little bit, him and his sister's life, about the opioid addiction in America, and about the first time he falls in love with a boy. And that's the only storyline that I enjoyed. And it's not terribly happy, but that's the only part that really felt true to me, that really felt like I could see what he was doing and I could see what he's capable of. But everything else I just thought was just sort of meh. I don't know. So I feel kind of bad, but that's number 6. Someone's got to be number 6. Okay, so number 5 was Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. This is my first Jacqueline Woodson. I thought I would be able to read after Tupac and, oh gosh, I forget the name. I'll write it below. I thought it would be that book, and it was this one, which is fine. So, novel and verse, don't think I've read those before. I also think I might have read it wrong because I didn't see what the big deal was. I feel so bad. Don't come at me for this, please. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I enjoyed this book. It was good. A coming of age story about I think she's a 16-year-old girl, and about her life with her friends, and then you jump back in time to various times to her mother's childhood, her father's childhood, them when they were dating, her grandparents' lives, what they were like. I don't know. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't outstanding. I think I'll like her stuff a lot. And she's really talented. She's a great writer. I read it very quickly. I just was not wowed. I don't know. Okay, so at number 4 is 10 minutes 38 seconds in This Strange World by Elif Shafak. This felt a little long to me in some strange ways, and I enjoyed the splitting up of the parts. So this book is about a prostitute who gets murdered, and it's 10 minutes and 38 seconds until, is it her brain dies or her soul leaves her body? I think it's her brain dies. So you see her reflecting on her life, and you see her looking back, and then she's also kind of interacting in real time with, like, I remember specifically when she was in the dumpster and this group of younger kids is coming up to her, and she hopes that they find her and also hopes that they don't like do anything, you know, and that was really arresting. And I enjoyed the writing style. I enjoyed looking at her life. So that part is the first 2/3, and the last kind of third is her group of 5 friends who are essentially a Greek chorus when they find out about her death and how they process that and what they think about that and looking back for themselves with her. And I liked it, but I don't know. I feel really bad. It was fine. That seems like such a non-review review, but it was compelling. It was a little different. Yeah, it was all right. So, I was doing so bad at this. So at number 3, I have A Woman Is No Man by Etaf Rum. This is the only book I actually own a copy of. Everything's already back at the library. So A Woman Is No Man. This one I was prepared to not like in general. I didn't like the blurb. The only reason I got this from Book of the Month is because it was a freebie. It was at the beginning of the year, after the top 5 or the book of the year is picked. You can pick one of the top 5 books that everyone voted on for free. And of the other books that were there, the other 4, I either already owned them or I really didn't want them. And I figured this one might be on a judging panel somewhere, because it was getting, you know, awarded prizes and stuff. So I just picked this one, and I thought, well, I can get rid of it if I don't want it. So I have this one. And I liked this one. I was surprised that I liked it. It's an immigrant story told between the 90s and I think it's 2008. So you meet Isra as she is in Palestine with her family. She gets an arranged marriage and meets a man, and they move to America, and you see what their marriage is like when she has children, living with her in-laws, life in Brooklyn. So there's that timeline, and then there is her oldest daughter, Dea, who is in high school, and her grandmother, so Isra's mother-in-law, is trying to get her married as well, trying to arrange a marriage for her. And there's misunderstandings, of course, because this is not really a spoiler. You find it out really soon in the book, but Isra has passed away. So Dea has been raised by her grandparents, by Isra's mother and father-in-law. And yeah, you jump back and forth in time between Isra and her life in Brooklyn as she's getting used to the States, and then Dea as she wants to go to college and just want to get married, but then there's, you know, sort of a classic immigrant tension, first generation kind of a thing. It was good. I'm putting this down. It was good. I liked it. It wasn't anything outstanding, and the fact that I've read a lot of other books that are similar to this, that had the similar kind of a story, you know, first generation immigrant, younger kid, wants to do different things. They're more American or liberal or modern or whatever you want to say. And then there are the parents who have moved from whatever country they have moved from, and they don't want to lose traditions because that's comforting and that's home for them, and they don't want to lose control of their children, and it's a scary world out there, and blah blah blah. So that wasn't necessarily new, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. There was one, I don't want to say twist, but there was a change in the plot that I didn't see coming. That was a logical addition if I would have thought about it, but I didn't. Otherwise, everything was predictable. It was okay. I was waffling between putting this one at number 4 and then 10 minutes 38 seconds, going back and forth, but I enjoyed reading this one more than I enjoyed 10 minutes 38 seconds. So this is number 3. So at number 2, I picked Women Talking by Miriam Toews. This is about based on a real event. I don't know where it was, Canada, I think. There's a Mennonite community, and women were waking up for several years, waking up, and they were bruised and ached and hurt in sore places and black eyes and all this stuff, and come to find out that there were lots of men in the community that were sort of roofing them in their sleep, or using, what was it, belladonna, knocking them out in their sleep and raping them and abusing them. So it was bad enough it got out and the men were in jail, but this group of women who doesn't know how to read or write ask a man who is an ex-convict, he's coming back into the community, he came back into the community, I should say, ask him if he would take minutes for them. As the women decide what to do. Do they forgive them and it goes back to normal? Do they stay and fight, or do they leave? So it takes the place over, I think, 2 or 3 days, and that close-knit community and the unusualness of the story for me was really interesting, and I enjoyed this. That sounds really terrible. Also, can we have books that maybe don't feature abusive women so much? I know it happens, I understand, but it's like, anyways. I liked the different personalities of the ladies. I liked how tough and funny they were. I liked how they talked to each other and figured out what they're going to do. And they do come to a decision. I won't say what it is. And the man who is present, who is taking notes, I liked his character quite a lot. He's in love with one of the women that have been abused, and so they have little inside jokes a little bit, and it was a nice story for depressing, and as depressing and scary as it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I read really quickly too, which I appreciate. So that means for number 1, I picked Lanny by Max Porter. And I would not have said that at the start. I really liked this book though. It's got a different feel to it, a very fairy tale feel to it. And I wish I had a print copy to show you. I'm sure you've seen pictures too. The text in the book kind of gets wavy, goes all over the place and swirls, and it writes over itself sometimes. And that character who reads like that, talks like that, is Dead Papa Toothwort, who is a fictional character who is really real. He's mythological. He is the Green Man also. So he is in this little town in rural England, and he goes through the goop and the mud and looks like a crow, and then he looks like something else. If someone sees him, he just looks like part of the landscape, but he's really not. He can go in drains, and he likes to listen to people talk. So all the talking you hear, that swirling speech, is him, like snippets of conversation that he's hearing from around the village. So there's a little boy named Lanny who is special and a little different, very creative, and Lanny is the only one who really believes in Dead Papa Toothwort these days. No one else does anymore. It's old-fashioned and it's baby stuff, and he gets poo-pooed. So he sort of befriends Dead Papa Toothwort, and his father works in London, is not around a lot. His mom is home. She's a former actress and author now. She writes some very dark thrillers. And his mom decides that he needs to make a friend and wants to give him something to do. So she suggests to a local artist in town who is fairly famous if he would like to work with him. And he says, sure, that's fine. I'd love to work with Lanny. So they draw. He teaches him how to draw a little bit better, and they do some pottery maybe. They do some photography, but it's mostly drawing that they do. And they get on like a house on fire. They become friends. And there are some signs that Lanny won't be around a lot more, and that Dead Papa Toothwort is going to steal him, and then he gets taken. So the second half of the book is, where is Lanny, and everyone in his life, what they're thinking in their head, what Dead Papa Toothwort thinks a little bit, where he really is, how everything shakes out, who gets accused, who doesn't. I just enjoyed it. I liked the quirky small town English village feel to it. I really enjoyed the snippets of conversation that Papa Toothwort overhears. I just liked it. It's kind of an odd little book, and I'm glad that it has gotten this far. I think it did go through to the finals. I'm almost positive it did. It's kind of an unusual little thing, And I think books that are like this tend to get lost in the shuffle of New York Times bestsellers and the It Person of the Summer and all that stuff. And I liked that this unusual little book has gone so far in this Booktube Prize. So that was my number one, Lanny. So I really enjoyed myself. As usual, I was a procrastinator and I did it at the last possible minute. I think I sent my numbers in an hour before they were due. I'm so sorry, Robert. But that's sort of how I roll. And I struggled with reading some of these because I just didn't want to, because I knew it would be tough subject matter. And it was like homework. And I'm not knocking anything. It's just, this is just all on me. I signed up for this and I said I was going to do it and I did it. But I just sort of dragged my feet. I'm my own worst enemy. Let's just face facts here. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the semifinals. So for the finals coming up, I have nonfiction this time. And I've already read 3 of the books, which is really nice. So I just have to read 3 more. One I really want to read. The other 2 I don't. But watch those 2 that I don't want to read will be my favorites. Who knows? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys are enjoying watching all these videos. Are you participating this year? What did you think? Have you read some of these when they're going through to the finals? Do your favorites fall off? Let me know. I really wanted to read The Puzzle of Polynesia, and I have it here. I'll read that. That's by Christina Thompson. I'll read that eventually, but I was hoping that I would, you know, have to read it for this. So anyways, we'll see. All right, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe and reading something fabulous, and I will see you guys very soon in the next one. Bye.